Ladies and gents, welcome back. Justin Trudeau seems to not have a good time traveling these days. Now, he's gone as far as he could on his good looks, and now people are starting to see exactly where he is coming from. And, well, today's no exception. Here's a video that's surfaced all around when he went to an event. It was the 2013 North American Indigenous event, and well, this is the response that he got when he showed up on stage.
Hello, my friends. We've been waiting for this moment a long time after the 2020 edition of the North American Indigenous Games.
Well, a lot of people have been waiting a long time for that moment, obviously. So this is the sports culture legacy. We're saving you a seat. This is the 2013 North American Indigenous Games, the largest multi-sport games and cultural celebration to ever be held in Atlantic Canada, July 25th to 23rd. Everyone is welcome. They said here the games are coming and everyone is welcome. Well, everyone except for one man in Canada. Now, you know, in case anybody thought that this was doctored footage, here you go. Justin Trudeau getting booed by 5,000 people while appearing on stage. Well, pretty brutal there, of course. Not since Trudeau has a prime minister more hated than Trudeau, and this is a kicking back when the original Trudeau was the prime minister. And here's a news segment about that.
But in Sudbury, it was back to making salads.
It was the largest and probably the most unfriendly crowd on Trudeau's trip. Hundreds of angry people hurled insults, tomatoes, and eggs at the private car carrying Trudeau and his three sons. When the tomatoes and eggs ran out, they started throwing rock. For many, Trudeau's visit was a chance to vent their anger over the economy.
Well, the original Trudeau, old Trudeau, he began the idea of Western alienation, and this is the response that was given when, well, he saluted people in the West as they jeered him going by, and, well, this became the infamous Trudeau salute. Now, people witnessed this, but nobody had the cameras out at that moment, so this is an artist's rendition of the original Trudeau's thoughts on Western Canada, and the reason why by the time he got through, back on his way back to Ontario and Quebec, he got a warm welcome through Sudbury. But this is also the scene in Canada today. Now, people from all walks of life are coming out to express their frustrations with Trudeau and his policies. Here's a group of Muslims that went out this past week over the whole gender ideology and all the stuff that's being taught in schools. I know Trudeau and the federal government are not the ones to implement this stuff, but Trudeau refused to not butt into some matters that were not of his purview, and he's been inserting himself where he needs not to be.
But we want a political party to stand for children, to stand for parents, and we were waiting for them. And too bad, honestly, many of us supported Prime Minister Trudeau. Many of us supported him. Many immigrant communities supported Trudeau. And now what's he saying? He's saying that Muslims are being brainwashed. We're not brainwashed. We are professional people. Up here, there's doctors and lawyers and engineers and people that working from home and homemakers. We're professional people. We're not brainwashed. We know the facts. We just all of a sudden didn't become hateful people. We've always had a concern. It's what's happening in our schools is getting worse and worse and worse. And now they've crossed the red line. Our children are our red line. Our children, our rights. Our children, our rights. Leave the kids alone.
Yep, so they've crossed that red line, and they continue to cross it and try to browbeat everybody else. This is something that the Liberal Party actually put out just yesterday. Every Canadian should feel safe to be who they are and who they love. as not up for debate. Instead of standing up against hateful language, Pierre Poilievre takes a picture with those promoting it. And this is the advertisement that they put out here.
We're here today to raise once again the pride flag on Parliament Hill. This is something our government proudly did 7 years ago. We're lifting high our belief that no matter your sexual orientation, your gender identity, or your gender expression, you belong here. You have a voice here.
Well, what if your gender expression is average and your sexual orientation is straight? Well, this is the question. Do they have a voice? Are we allowed to have a voice? Is everybody allowed to have a voice, no matter your sexual orientation, Trudeau, unless you're straight? Wait, what? I don't think this is the win you think it is. This isn't you coming out and showing that you're all inclusive. No, it's showing that you're exclusive in this, and this is why there's been backlash. And of course, this is referring to the picture that was taken with Pierre Poilievre. This man also took a picture with Danielle Smith, the Premier of Alberta, which raised all kinds of, accusations. And then, of course, they were told that they have to denounce everything. Now, Adam Zivo here on Twitter, he's a writer for the National Post, says the idea of straight pride has been trending in Canada lately. So in this column, I explain why the concept is offensive. Is it really offensive? And this is where it gets into stuff. Now, the article goes on to say about Pierre Poilievre and how the fact that one of his adopted parents was gay, apparently, and he's also brought LGBT people into his own cabinet, that this is still inexcusable. Because why? For those of us that have carved out comfortable lives, generally understand that we've been born in a generation or two, or had we been born in a generation too earlier, things would have been different entirely. Well, you're not. So things aren't different entirely. It was not long ago that homosexuals were left to die en masse from AIDS. For much of history, we were beaten and ridiculed, spat on, fired from our jobs. This is one that really inspired me, because there's a bunch of people that have been fired from their jobs in recent history, but no, there's not a lot of people in the media coming to their aid. But hey, we'll just leave that one where that is. Had our bones broken and we're bloodied. Thank God we of the younger generation avoided most of that, but we hear stories and remember. But hearing stories and remembering is not the same. So we live in a time where that doesn't exist anymore. And this is the whole point. And I do want to raise the point that this is, in the comedy world, people call this punching up or punching down. When the entire media apparatus has your back, when you make fun of you, when somebody makes fun of you, that's punching up. You're not oppressed when the entire media apparatus comes to your aid. Now, this reminds me a lot of the time many, many moons ago when, the Christian church had so much power in society that when a bunch of comedians from Britain decided to make a comedy show in jest surrounding the life of Jesus, but not giving that scene, but talking about the life of Brian, they were brought up and harangued over it, just like we're seeing today. And this is a scene from these debates on whether the life of Brian should be censored.
You keep making the basic assumption that we are ridiculing Christ and Christ's teaching, and I say that we are not.
But do you imagine that your scene, for instance, of the Sermon on the Mount, the scene in your film of the Sermon on the Mount,
right,
is not ridiculing one of the most sublime utterances that any human being has ever spoken on this earth? Of course it is.
No, it's making fun of the guy who's remembered it wrong and of the people who don't understand it and miss the point.
Well, I think
that's really unfair, because I think that a lot of people looking in will think that we have actually ridiculed Christ.
Yes.
Physically. Christ is played by an actor, Ken Colley. He speaks the words from the Sermon on the Mount. He's treated absolutely respectfully. The camera then pans away. We go right to the back of the crowd to someone who shouts, "Speak up," because they cannot hear him. Now, I mean, if that utterly, undermines one's faith in Christ, then
of course it doesn't. I started off by saying that this is such a 10th grade film that I don't believe that it would disturb anybody.
Okay, so it's a 10th grade film. It's deserving of ridicule. So ridicule it. That's fine. This is the whole idea of free speech. Now, things are getting ridiculous in this front today. Now, Christianity, largely, if you're making fun of it now, you're punching down. It doesn't have the power in society that it once had. Now, punching up would be punching at, well, the alphabet crew. Now, this is how ridiculous it's getting. This is a real story. Vagina rebranded as bonus hole by cervical cancer charity. The terminology, which aims to avoid upsetting transgender men, has been accused of dehumanizing women. And if you, just in case you think this is not a real story, here's also the Daily Mail reporting on this as well, as cancer charity is accused of dehumanizing women with new inclusive language. Is bonus hole the craziest euphemism yet in the trans debate? This is the reality that we're dealing with now. But of course, it doesn't stop the media apparatus from coming out on their behalf, right? This is the thing here in Canada. Here's CTV News Calgary. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre's office is tight-lipped over a photo of one of his opposition critics posing with two people wearing slogans against measures addressing sexual orientation and gender identity in schools. They're wearing symbols to say, leave our kids alone, and that's it. But that's not going to stop the CTV from requesting a denouncement from the political leaders in our country. I really wish we could take a stand on this. But the ones that do take a stand on it, in their own way, well, Justin Trudeau, and this is the response that he gets. Boo. Boo indeed. And that's the scene here in Canada. So I think that's about the best place to leave this one here. We'll leave that there. I had some more footage, but the video is getting too long. So leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think of this whole scenario. Have they been pushing the boundaries too far? And as well, Trudeau, we know, has gone too far, but he's gone to the point where he's alienating more and more people throughout Canada. And this is a perfect opportunity for people to come together under a united cause against Trudeau. That's where we can leave it. Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.